This concept of turning outward is incredibly important to us in our work, because it's really about how we make decisions. And are we really making decisions that have the community's interests at heart? Part of the Foundation's mission is to help make the greater Clark County region a more vibrant and resilient region. When you have a resilient community, then you're able to weather storms, whether it's the loss of an employer, whether it's a natural disaster. And we just know that more resilient communities tend to take better care of their residents. And ultimately, that's what we're trying to create, is a community in which people are really caring for one another in a meaningful way. Trust takes a long time to build. And we have a history of a deep racial divide in our community, like many Southern communities. And so interracial trust is incredibly low. But we also have a history of leaders not always being true to their word. At the Foundation, we feel like it's our responsibility to build this leadership pipeline. And something that kept me up at night is, wow, what if we're not able to tap into enough people, or the right kinds of people? And by the right kinds of people, I mean not the usual suspects. I'm pleased that we've had a number of wins as a result of our partnership with the Harwood Institute. We had folks from a particular church who saw a real need in the community around youth sports, and they started a great youth sports program, but they didn't do it alone. They intentionally went about creating partnerships with several other churches in the community. They intentionally set about making sure that this was an interracial partnership so that we could also try to bridge this divide around interracial trust. And that's a huge ripple. Something we learned early on is that the youth in our community feel abandoned by community leaders. And as part of our work with Harwood, we've had the opportunity to invest in some phenomenal young people. But this conversation about being turned outward certainly has had some implications around the board table. One recent one was a grant that we made for a group of youth to do a piece of original documentary theater that brought to the stage voices of marginalized people in our community. And so that included people of color, people with disabilities, people who were gay or lesbian, people who may have been undocumented, a whole variety of folks. And staff got some pushback on this because we have a couple of very religious board members who didn't think that homosexuality should be talked about in public. And that was a really difficult conversation about what it means to be turned outward, because our personal beliefs can't hold us back from responding to our neighbors. There are a number of times where people have asked us why we're investing in this work, because it's soft. It doesn't have hard outcomes. And it's hard for them to place a value on it. But to me, it's just so obvious that investments in people and investments in systems are the most important investments we can make, because they have staying power. And when you have an army of community members who are turned outward, then you have a community that is going to be so much stronger than if everyone in the community is just focused on what's in it for me.